welcome to the very first edition of Bison Talks Impact, where I talk all about impact, and I'm honoured to be joined today by none other than one-third of the Desi Hit Squad, the incredible Rohit Raju. Hello, mate.
Hello, and hello to everyone. I am gracing your presence right now. You should feel astonished. You should feel privileged that this guy right here, representing Impact Wrestling, is on your screen answering any questions that this man is about to ask. No, for real, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. It's great. And I'm really, really appreciative that you've decided to be on my very first edition of Bison Talks Impact.
Well, I'm glad I can. Thanks for asking.
No worries. I know we've been talking about getting this interview done for some time now, so I'm really pleased we managed to make it work, because obviously with the time differences, etc. I mean, I know it's 4 o'clock over there and it's almost 9 o'clock over here.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
That's fine. That's not a problem at all. So obviously, I really, really do appreciate you being my very first guest. Okay, so I want to get stuck into something here. I mean, first I want to take you. First I'm hoping that you're staying safe and you keep yourself occupied during these unprecedented times. I mean, what are you doing to keep yourself occupied at the moment?
To the right, I have a half rack. It's I can do squats, pull-ups, bench, because I have a bunch of stuff that I can do to lift weights here. So every day, before I even got on here, I worked out. I try to stay in shape. I love staying in shape, being in shape, getting in better shape. That's just something I've always done, whether if I was wrestling or not. I've always loved lifting weights. So I do that every day. When it's nice out, I'm always outside, even if it's just listening to music and watching my dogs play, I'll do that. I had bought a inflatable hot tub last December, so I finally got to set that up. So I've been in that, just chilling, having some day drinks. We actually had people over Saturday, just a few people, and it was fun. We all try to keep our distance, but threw some food on the grill and then let other people use the grill if they wanted to. And we just had a good time, had some drinks, and I paid for it the day afterwards because I drank a little bit too much. But it was well needed. And I've been watching my shows, keeping up on my video games, Call of Duty on the PS4. I just got done with Final Fantasy VII, the remake on PS4. I started playing Predator, of course, on PS4. I'm going to see, once this ninja game, I can't remember what it was called, but Willie was telling me about it. It's on the Switch. We're going to jump on that probably together. I'll hit him up because I know we were talking about it when we were in Nashville last time. So other than that, man, I'm just trying to keep busy, trying to stay creative. And I go outside when I have to and go to the store. It doesn't really bother me. I put my mask on and try to do all the precautions. It's funny. It's still busy. People, people, they need to get out of their house. And I understand why we have this lockdown, but they got to figure out something, because people are going to lose their minds, man. I mean, we got to figure out something.
I think people already are going a bit crazy, going stir crazy, aren't they?
Well, we had a bunch of idiots storm the Capitol of my state with guns and stuff. I think it was a lot of right-wing people, a lot of extreme right-wing. They had like machine guns and shit. And so it was just like, because they were like, we need to, the governor is not her rules or yada, yada, yada. And it was just like, it was a little bit too much. I don't understand why you're trying to have a peaceful protest with machine guns, but whatever. And I just find that funny when people try to, when I think it was in South Dakota when Native Americans were trying to peacefully protest and they were getting maced and hit with tear gas. But no, nothing happened to these guys with machine guns. I just find the hypocrisy a little ridiculous. Or when people want to talk about Kaepernick when he tries to kneel for police brutality, during the national anthem, and they instantly want to yell at him and scream at him. I just find that type of stuff absolutely ridiculous. You either condemn all of it or you don't. So I just
totally agree.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that, but it's annoying.
I totally agree. So. I think I think some of the things that we take for granted in the UK are. I mean, our police, for instance, over here are not armed or anything like that. So, I mean, we have like special forces or whatever you want to call it, the special police that can carry firearms, but generally the police don't carry firearms or anything like that. So, and of course, we don't have the gun licensing laws that you guys have in the US when it comes to owning a gun.
Right.
And I must admit, I'm a soft-hearted guy. I'm a big fella, but I'm a soft-hearted guy when it comes to hearing some of the things that goes on over there when shootings in schools and all sorts of stuff like that. So, we don't get that over here. And whenever anyone says that to me, I say, do you know why? Because we don't sell anybody guns,
Right,
so they don't
right.
have access to them, so it doesn't happen. But that's like you say, that's a little bit more political. So I
It is,
think for
and I don't mind people having guns and stuff like that. My only thing was um, just people like the same people that would condemn other people for protesting for what they believed in, all of a sudden can't be condemned for protesting for what they believe in. It has to go both ways, and that's a
yeah,
problem with humanity. So, but like you said, that is a little bit too political, and that's not why we're here. So,
no, we are not. We definitely are not, my friend. So you talked about your home fitness there. So that was one of my next questions. How you keep yourself fit, but obviously, you've got yourself a home gym. You're going for runs, I would imagine, and keeping your cardio up, because that's one thing you certainly have got is certainly an incredible cardiovascular ability. You have to at the pace that you move around in the ring. So what I want to do is I want to take it back a little bit, because I remember when you first came in. We talked about it off air a little bit when you came in as Hakeem Zayn, and your first appearance, I believe, was back in 2017, and you won the Global Forwards, didn't you? What can you tell us about that experience?
Well, yeah, my first appearance, I actually got a chance to team up with a good friend of mine, Idris Abraham, and we took on Garza Jr. and Laredo Kid. And it was when I think Jeff Jarrett was still running the show, and Scott was part of Talent at the time. And I knew Scott before he went back to Impact. I just went up to BCW to go train up there because they had a great reputation, and I wanted to accelerate my abilities a little bit. So I had the opportunity. They were looking for some new blood. Oh, excuse me. And he said, "Hey, I got an opportunity for you. It's nothing concrete, but there is. We need a tag partner for Idris, and I think you could do well in this opportunity." So I drove down. Actually, bought a ticket, flew myself down to Florida, and then drove back with friends. And I wrestled, and I for sure thought I was going to get a job because Jeff Jarrett pulled me aside and talked to me a few times. And I was like, man, I think I impressed him. He pulled me aside, and he's running the show. Nothing happened, nothing happened. And then came the opportunity for Global Forged, or now it's, what is it?
Gut check.
Yeah, Gut Check. And at first, it was the only reason I did it was because I was trying to get into Pro Wrestling Noah, because it was kind of two things. I had already had my foot in the door at Impact, so I was trying to get into Noah, and nothing happened with that. And the next thing you know, they're like, "Hey, we're doing this Gut Check thing with the guys that won the Impact tryout, and we want to have you involved." So I said, "Okay, cool." And I would go up there like once a week and to Windsor, and this was still working my full-time job, and I would do stuff. But one of the things I would do, I would cut promos there for any upcoming show I had on the indie scene, and of
Yeah.
course I did that in front of the judges, and I think that helped a lot as well. And I was always told, practice how you wrestle. So I'm always in the ring, being intense, talking trash, just bringing the same energy that I do when I'm out in the ring, and I think that helped a lot. And I remember I went to Ottawa. I wasn't signed yet, and I had the chance to wrestle Ishimori, and then I did a 6-man tag, and I think I did something else. I can't remember, but oh yeah, Eddie Edwards on Explosion. But man, wrestling Ishimori was such a pleasure because I used to watch him in Kenta. I would get the tapes from Japan and Noah, and I would sit there and or the burned DVDs and just watch Noah at the time with Kobashi and the late great Masawa, and watching Ishimori. So it was a pleasure of mine to actually get in the ring with him, and then actually I would say become friends with him, because I would talk to him every time we'd see each other. I'd help him out with matches when people were calling it, because he can understand sometimes. So I would remember his spots and mine, and I would help him out from time to time with his stuff, and I think he appreciated that. And anytime I hit him up on Instagram or Twitter, he'll respond. So I think that's pretty cool, because he's
Yeah.
skyrocketed in New Japan right now.
Oh,
But that was awesome, man. It was cool it was very nerve-wracking because I didn't have any indie clout. I wasn't a big indie name coming in. I didn't know anybody in the Impact locker room. So I was, a stranger, and I felt like an outsider. And I feel now that I really earned my stripes, and especially with guys like Eddie Edwards. I talk to
yeah.
him anytime I have an issue. He's like, one of the locker room leaders, the MVP of the company, in my opinion. So I go to him and Elgin a lot and talk to those guys. And I knew Mike from way back, but being able to chance to talk to Eddie like that on a first name basis and come to him when before I felt like, man, this guy doesn't want anything to do with me. I felt like I earned my stripes in a sense as far as being part of the Impact roster. And honestly, it feels really damn good. I'm not gonna lie.
That's really nice to hear. Eddie being actually being one of my favorites on the roster myself.
Dude, he's one of
Uh,
the most underrated guys in professional wrestling. He's so good. And there's guys like him, Elgin, TJP, and Rich Swann. You think you're good, and then you get in the ring with guys like that, and you realize that you have such a long way to go because they're just on a whole different level. They switch gears like bang, 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 and it's so hard to keep up with them sometimes. But being in the ring with them and talking to them, watching them do their thing, it's always a learning experience, and it's pretty cool.
oh, yeah, I was, as you know, was when we actually first when we met each other very briefly. I was at
Yes.
The New York tapings, and that match that they did there. I think they did two, but they did a Michael Elgin and Eddie Edwards match there, and
Yes.
my God, I just remember sitting in the front row and physically feeling those blows
Oh.
that they were giving each other, and I was like, "Good God, like that must really, really hurt."
Those two
Um,
chop so hard. Man, they chop so hard. And it's just like, oh my God. It is. Ooh, it's funny because Shera, who's a giant oak of a man, hates to be chopped. So I always find it funny when he has to wrestle Eddie because I know Eddie's going to light his big ass up. So it's funny to see Shera always doing this because Shera's huge, you know what I mean? But
he's a
he does
big
not
guy,
like to
yeah.
be chopped. But Eddie chop, he brings it, boy. Ooh, he brings it. So it's funny. I get a chuckle out of that when I get to see that.
He's never going to let anyone get away without having a few big chops, is he?
Oh,
And nor should he. Let's face the facts. You get in there with Eddie, you're going to get a chop or
you're gonna
two,
get.
or
I
three. Or,
got 50. I think the first time I worked with him, my chest was bleeding. Took it like a champ, though, man. Thanked him and everything, and oof, boy, yeah, he just chopped the shit out of me the whole match, and I was just like, ooh, yeah. Felt every one of those.
That's amazing. That's an amazing, amazing story. Thank you. Now I want to take it a little bit further forward in time now, because obviously you sort of kind of went away for a little bit. You obviously did the global fours. You came in, you had a few matches. Then we didn't see you for a little while, and I guess obviously they were looking to repackage you. They were looking to bring in the Desi Hit Squad faction. And then, of course, you sort of kind of like re-debuted as Rohit Raju, as you are now. As we say, as part of the Desi Hit Squad. How did you think? How do you think the group has developed over the past sort of 12 to 18 months on Impact?
Uh, when we first started out, I don't think they had a real plan for us because I was a babyface. And we did some backstage vignettes with Gama. This was when we were still in Florida.
Yeah,
And it was weird because I came out, I was, Rohit Raju as a babyface. And it was weird because the last time I was there, I was Hakeem Zayn, I was a heel, and there really was no transition. It just happened. And
yeah,
so I thought that was kind of like, eh. And then the next time we went back, I was a heel. And so like the crowd was cheering me, and like, next thing you know, I'm being a heel, and there was no real transition there. And so I thought they kind of dropped the ball with us. I really do. I think they had an A and they had a C, but they had no B.
yeah,
And they didn't know how they were going to get us there. And they just kind of, we flew by the seat of our pants. And then Gersinder and I started teaming up. And, we had to, I thought we gelled real well at first. And then what we started doing, the way we were cutting promos, we were doing like the one night stand pay-per-views, and we didn't have Gama at the time. And the
Yeah.
promos we were cutting were very serious promos. And then when we brought Gama in, it ended up being more comedic because everyone loved him slapping me. And they loved that dynamic between him and I. So it ended up being us being like a Desi Hit Squad, like a hit squad where we're taking guys out. And it ended up being kind of ha-ha funny. And it was more entertaining to a lot of people than us being like a serious threat. I thought we really started to get some momentum when we jumped Petey and Ishimori, and then stuff was going on with Gersinder's visa or whatever. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, and then he left, and whatever happened there. And so then they bring in Raj, and so then we had to start all over again. And then Raj and I had to gel, So we're going against tag teams that have been together for years, and Raj and I barely met. So then we're trying to gel together and put our ideas together and our philosophies, and that took some time. And then that started to cook, and then they didn't really have anything for us. And I was like, hey, Deaners aren't doing nothing. Let's do something with the Deaners. And that was one of my favorite things. We did that whole thing with the Deaners, and I outlined everything to Jimmy Jacobs, and Jimmy loved it. And we went with it, and I felt so happy. And the farm stuff to this day is by far some of my favorite stuff. And then they brought in Shera, and then Shera and I would team up, and that actually kind of gelled a little bit quicker than I had, figured. So that was cool. And then we started to finally get some, they would sit on us for a little bit. They didn't know what they were doing, and then we started to cook a little bit even more. And then this happens, and so they can't travel. Raj got injured. That's why you didn't see him. He got injured. And so now it's me. So I think it started off pretty rough. It started to move in the right direction, and then we hit a bunch of bumps, and then we started to move in the right direction. Then we hit a bunch of bumps, and then it's just as soon as we start to take off, something happens. So it's been a rough ride as far as the Desi Hit Squad goes. I do feel like we're in a way better spot than we were when we started. I think we have a really good unit right now. But, now that's all changing because I'm the only guy there. So it's now the focus is on me, which is sweet because I enjoy that because I always want to be a singles wrestler and stuff like that. But it just sucks now. Like, okay, so now who knows what happens when this is all said and done? Are we back to square one? Do we continue with, what's going to happen? So
it's almost like you might have to hit the reset button again.
Again, you know what I mean? And we've hit it so many times. So it's it does get frustrating. But that's, how things happen sometimes. But I'm making, with the opportunities that they're giving me now, I honestly am trying to make the best of it. And I say this every podcast and every interview. I hope creative and management sees that and they give me more, because I feel like I've been hitting home runs with what they've been giving me anytime. And I'll continue to try to work hard and make that possible.
Yeah, no, I mean, without doubt, I think some of the stuff that you were doing leading up to, so I guess probably at the last set of tapings, you started to do a couple of promos, sort of kind of behind the scenes, which were starting to become a little bit more intense, a little bit more of the sort of kind of Hakeem Zayn type character rather than necessarily the Rohit character, but it was. I just remember starting to see these promos and everyone going mad on social media. It's like, why is this guy doing more promos? And I think that I think you're right. I think a lot of the stuff that you guys did with the slapping, I thought the chemistry between you guys and the Deaners was incredible. Like Jake something, cousin Jake. He is an incredible wrestler, and I think you guys have obviously wrestled a lot. I think prior to some of the stuff that you've done on Impact, which showed in your performances, and they were, some great matches. Some of my favourite matches actually of 2019 were the matches that the Desi Hit Squad had with the Deaners were some of my favourite, and obviously the promo stuff on the farm was fun, and
man, it was great.
There was some really good stuff on there, really, really good stuff. So I appreciate a lot of that stuff, and I'd like to say thank you, on behalf of the fans, I would say, not even just for us, doing that kind of stuff, because it's really, really entertaining, and it's great to watch. I love it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so I do want to speak to you a little bit about your promo work. We sort of kind of hit on it a little bit there, because your promo work over the last sort of 6 to 8 months, I've seen online what you've been doing primarily like the AAW stuff. Obviously, you're there as Hakeem Zayn, and you are partnershiping with Karim. I think is that how you say it, Karim? Karim.
Yeah, everyone gets his name wrong. They get Rohit wrong. It's we're used to it. Trust us. It's like, oh gosh, I can't say those.
I don't know why. Anyway, so you're known as obviously the hustle and the muscle. And you know what? Some of the anonymous promo stuff that you were doing, especially, when you had the mask thing going on and your voice was muffled, and at the time it was like nobody knew who that was. I loved all of that. Nobody's letting me do what I can do kind of scenario. This is what I can do. I'm showing the world what I can do. Did you come up with that idea, or was that something that the AAA,
that's Trent and Rob right there. We Rob was doing kind of like one-off videos of people, and Trent and I met at AAW, and he was a fan of the Hit Squad stuff, and we would talk, and then he started showing up to Impact shows, and he's like, hey, I want to do something with you, showing off like the Desi culture and stuff like that. And I was like, cool. And then I started cutting these promos for him. I started cutting these promos, and they're like, oh, that's like totally different than what we thought you were, would cut. And then they came up with the idea, hey, let's do this masked promo, this anonymous stuff, and we'll cut these promos and nobody will know who it is, and then you'll come out and reveal. Well, the promos blew up. You know what I mean? Which I find that funny as hell. And that's the whole thing. You put the mask on, I got your attention. If it's just me cutting the promo, some guy that has no fanfare, a lot of people aren't going to care about it. Some people will. Some people will say, wow, this guy's really good. And then some people will just be like, oh, he's stupid, or oh, he's this, he's that. You know how people are. They just complain for the sake of complaining. Like, I know I have good promos. Call it egotistical or whatever. I know my promos deserve more than what they get, because I practice them every damn day. I know I'm a better promo guy than a lot of guys out there. So it caught a lot of buzz, and I remember the way they wanted me to reveal it. I said, I really don't want to do that because I know their expectations is so high of who this is under the mask. If I go out there and just take the mask off, they're going to be disappointed. So the way we did it was we went out there and we beat up two of their top baby faces, and then I took the mask out. And I remember it was groans. They were like, oh, they were disappointed. But the promo I cut afterwards was filled with, the in-ring promo I cut was filled with such hatred, and it was real. And it was real. It's how I feel, in a sense. It was filled with such hatred, such bitterness, and such anger that half of the people were like, holy shit, and I had them by the end of the promo, and that made me feel good. I remember I was on such a high when I walked backstage. I felt like I was shaking because I was so nervous, and I knew I hit a home run, and I couldn't. Right now I have goosebumps just thinking about it, and it was such a good feeling knowing that I did what I wanted to do, and I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think, because wrestling fans can be very elitist, and they can shut you down. And I knew that's what they would probably do because that Chicago crowd is like that. And I just tore into them, and they loved it. Half of them didn't. They were disappointed because I remember people online were like, who's this jobber? Why is he blah, 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 blah. And it's funny to me because I'm a jobber now that I revealed myself. But everyone was talking about how great these promos were. It was still me cutting the promo. It was just me under the mask. That didn't change. What you touted to be so excellent and so great and so game changing, it was still me. But you didn't get what you wanted, so all of a sudden it was, oh, this guy's a loser. No, in fact, I'm not. I'm actually pretty damn good, and I proved that. And I had to wear a mask in order to prove it. And it just proves my point that the majority of fans out there are so stupid and like pessimistic and just like want to shit on stuff. And it does. It makes me angry. You know what I mean? You're entitled to your opinion, but if your opinion is, oh, I'm going to shit on this because even though it's good, I didn't like it because I didn't get what I wanted, then I get out of here with that noise. You know what I mean? I have no sympathy for you, and I will come after you because you know what I mean. I know the stuff that I put in and the work I put in. It was proven that it was great, and you just wanted to crap on it because it wasn't the indie darling that you wanted. So yeah, you know what I mean, and that's where all that comes from. That's who Hakeem Zayn is. Hakeem Zayn is a guy that's been wrestling for 11 years, who is bitter, who is angry, who knows his worth, and finally got a chance to lash out against everyone and show that he is as good as he says he is. Rohit Raju is the black sheep of the Desi Hit Squad that is always the mischievous kid. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm trying to bring that chip on the shoulder, which Impact Management knows. They have seen. They know of the hustle and the muscle. Carm came to Atlanta and Deal was like, who the hell is this? I said, well, this is my partner. And we went into it. And he's like, you need to, he needs to show up more. And I'm like, yeah. And, and that's what I want to go to Impact and do that. And I think that's the direction we might be moving into. I'm very happy with some of the recent stuff, and I can't wait for people to see it. I'm sure people will want to crap on it. I saw, people crapping on me during the 4-way match. This guy, the least interesting guy of the bunch, and all this other stuff.
Whatever.
It is what it is. So, and that's, people are always going to be like that, and that's fine because I use it as motivation. And when it comes time to cut a promo, those are the type of people that I'm going to eat alive, and that's who I'm going to target. And because it's real, you know what I mean? That frustration that I have inside, that's real, and that's Hakeem Zayn. I am goofy, I am funny as Rohit, but that anger that I use, that chip on the shoulder that I use, that's real. That comes from a real place, and you know what I mean? So they always say the best wrestlers are you turned up a notch, and that's who Hakeem Zayn is. And I'm trying to incorporate that as Rohit Raju as well.
No, that's fantastic. I really like it. I really appreciate that. That's a really good answer. Now, personally, I'd love to see you break away from the Desi Hit Squad. Personally, recently we've seen a few differences of opinion between yourself and Gamma, and there seems to be a few cracks appearing in the relationship. So, do you think that you will, you've almost answered the question already, but do you think you'll finally kind of fulfill your potential to break away and become your own wrestler on the Impact roster, or do you think you may stay with the Desi Hit Squad for the foreseeable future?
I love working with Gama. I love working with Shera. I love working with Raj. I loved working with Gursinder. I love what we have. But as a professional wrestler, that's not who I want to be identified as. I do want to break out, and be my own individual, because that's why I got into professional wrestling. So yes, I would like to break away from them. I don't know what else we can do as a group. I do think we have a lot more that we could do, because I don't think we've had the chance, and every time we get the chance, something happens and it takes away. But also, it's like, I also want to get my stuff out there too. And I'm sure Raj does, and Shera, I'm sure they all want to be, stars, because Raj is actually hilarious. He is very funny. You don't see it with, Raj Singh on TV. He's funny. He's quick-witted. And I honestly would love to see that, Raj, because I know he would like to do it too on TV, and he cuts a really good promo, and I would love to see him excel and become more of like who that Raj is. He's very funny, man. He cracks me up. We were doing an AMA on Reddit, and someone asked, what's your favorite sandwich, and out of the blue he types to serve, knuckle, to eat, and then whatever it was, and it just popped to me because I didn't even think of that. But that's what he typed, and it was so quick-witted. I'm like, man, Raj is so funny, and people don't get to see that side of him. He's so funny backstage. But yes, I would like to be my own star. I would, and that's why I got into wrestling. One of the reasons.
It's interesting you say that about Raj, because I always find Raj to be quite sort of kind of stern and hard faced. So I would imagine
Yes.
him.
Oh, he's
To be
funny as
more of
hell.
a heel. But yeah, like it'd be interesting to see that different side, wouldn't it? Like because you sort of kind of get this sternness from him, but then to suddenly sort of take on a more of a comedic role, I think would be really. Actually, I think that'd be really cool.
He used to
Very
do a
very
part. He used to do a party gimmick before this, and I want him to be the Punjabi Poppy. That's what because we talked about that one time.
cool.
Yes, and I think we need to push for that hashtag Punjabi Poppy and tag Raj in it because he is hilarious, and I think he does not that like you said he's more stoic. He's the son, you know what I mean. So he tries to be in line and stuff, but he is a bigger goof than I am. So it's funny because my best work is me being intense and vicious. And I think his best work would be him being funny and being just Raj. You know what I mean? He's so
Yeah,
funny.
that would
So
be
I hope he gets a chance to do that or whatever he wants to do. So I don't
that
know.
would
We'll
be
see.
amazing. That
You
would
know what? I think it'd be cool for all of
different.
us to split up and do our own thing and then come
Yeah,
back later on and regroup stronger than ever as three individuals instead of just you know, who we are. Let us be three individuals and then come back when, form like Voltron again when the time needs it. That'd be
yeah,
cool.
definitely. That would be cool. Definitely. Um, Now, I would love to see the X Division Championship, an X Division Championship run in your future.
Oh,
Do
please.
you think this will happen, or do you have something else in mind?
It's got to happen, man. I have honestly been working so hard every X Division match to stand out. I always say, like, I'm not as athletic as these guys nowadays. Back in the day, I was doing springboard this and trying to do ranas and all that stuff. Now I like to do a lot of strikes and counters and submissions and speed. And I try to stand out that way. And, the style of wrestling that is going on nowadays it's not me. I'm more of a throwback to like 90s cruiserweights, I guess you could say, like a Benoit or Malenko. Um, Even like a Tajiri, that's more my style, a Taz with strikes. But I do hope that I think I could be a great X Division champion. I could just imagine my promos, just give me the mic, you know what I mean? I don't need to write anything down. It's all up here and I walk around saying it. And I think I could be that heel that people want to see get his ass whooped and get that belt taken away. I hope they do give me that opportunity to run with that belt. I think I could do a lot of good things with it and I think I could not change, the landscape, but I could be a different type of champion, be that
Yeah,
throwback champion that I want to be. So I honestly do, man. I'm working my ass off to get that opportunity. So hopefully they see that. I'm like, hey, let's give him the ball, see if he can run with it. Because everything else, like I said, any other ball they've given me, I've ran with it, and I hope they see that. Let's give them the big one. And I'm working towards that. And hell, I want to be tag champion with one of my homies. I want to be the world champion. Why not? I'll slap Moose around and take that TNA title from him. So it is what it is. You get into wrestling to be the champ, That's why I got into it. You get in there to be. If you don't want to be on top, then why are you in here? So I
yeah.
want to be on top. So that's
You don't go into wrestling to be a jobber, right?
no,
That's interesting, definitely.
not me at
Okay, so
least. Maybe some people like to just get in it to get into it. But you know what? In the words of Steve Austin, man, you get in there to be the world champion. If not, why the hell are you in this business? You go to be, you want to be on top, and that's where I want to be. I want to be on top.
man, totally agree. So it's interesting enough. I watched an interview probably about 12, 18 months ago with Enzo Amore, or Enzo as he likes to be called now, who I also believe is very good promo guy.
Oh, fantastic!
Um, yes, I don't know him, so I know that a lot of people don't like him. However, I don't know him personally, so I don't take judgment on that. I just go by what I see. And yeah, I was listening to this interview, and he talked about having a book that he literally carries a book around. That whenever he gets an idea or something that he could say, just a catchphrase or an idea on a promo, he's like he would write it all down in his book. Do you do anything like that? where you just sort of kind of, oh, I know what'll be really cool, and do you write any of this stuff down, or is it just all in your head?
It's in my head, and I probably should write it down because I forget a lot of cool stuff. And that's with moves, and that's with catchphrases. It's funny because, I call my mother. My mother called me son because I shine like one. I kind of morphed that from a Wu-Tang Clan lyric. And then Mocha Skin Manimal, I can't even remember where I got that. I think I got it because I was cutting a promo on Rhino at my house, just walking around. He's the man beast. And I remember someone said about my skin color, they said, "Oh, your skin's kind of mocha." And so I just went with that, mocha skinned manimal. And then I was doing a interview with on the news one time, and I was going through all my catchphrases and stuff. I was like, well, the next segment, let me think of something new. And then I came up with God created all men equal until he made me the sequel. And then I said that, and the next thing you know, that took off real well. So I like that a lot, and I just walk around kind of saying things. Like I said, I walk around in my house cutting promos all the time. And the best hip hop artists can freestyle. They always have like kind of bullet points, and they'll pull a lyric here, they'll pull like a lyric here, and then they'll just go off the top of their head. That's kind of what I like to do, just be in the moment. Impact's really cool. If they do let me cut promos, they let me say what I want. They say, hey, this is what we want to get across. Go ahead and say it in your verbiage, which I think is so awesome, man, because it lets you be creative and it lets you be you, and that's awesome. You know what I mean? It's not like a script I have to remember. It's just me being me with things that they want me to get across, but I get to say it how I want. That's I love that. But I should carry a book or something.
You have got to face the facts. At the end of the day, the best pro wrestlers, the best people on the mic are the ones that are allowed to be them.
Yes.
And word things that the way they would word it, so it just flows off the off the top of their head.
And that's just reality. You know what I mean? You gotta let someone talk how they want to talk.
Exactly. Now, I'm almost to the end of our questions, actually, Rohit. So I've got another question here for you, which is, do you have a particular wrestler on the Impact roster you feel you either would have a great in-ring chemistry with, and feel a program with them on TV would be, really show off what you guys, or everything that every tool in your arsenal, whether it be in-ring promos, whatever, is there any particular wrestler that you have or would love to work with?
I want to do one-on-one with Jake something. Give us 10 minutes, just because every time we work together, it's something special because we know each other real well. I always say it's Goku versus Vegeta. We've known each other for like almost 15 years, maybe like 12 or something. And we're best friends. We've known each other forever. We've traveled up and down the road together, since day one. So I would love a singles match with him, because I think we would do something special. I'm bummed that I never got one with Cody Deaner. I think Cody and I would have done something well. I loved when we did the mix-up and I had to team up with him, and then I took his hat and did all that stuff. I just think Cody and I had a certain chemistry where we both like to work character stuff and kind of feel how it is out there. I love that stuff. I think one of the guys I want to work with so bad and do promos against is, I want to do it with Sammy, because I think Sammy cuts great promos. But I want to work with Rich Swann when he comes back.
Oh,
I think Swann is amazing. I've worked with Elgin in the past. I'd like to work with Elgin again. I've worked with Eddie. I've worked with TJP. And I've only done some stuff with Swann as far as tag stuff goes. But I think there's something there with Swanee and I. And we cut promos on each other backstage. He'll do his Bret Hart impression, and I'll do my Steve Austin impression. And we'll just go back and forth for like 10, 15 minutes just cutting promos on each other. But Swann, he's one of the coolest guys ever. He's super talented. And I want to be in there with him one-on-one. I think it'd be great. And I hope that opportunity does happen. Especially Jake. Like I said, Jake something, man. I want Jake Deaner. I want that one-on-one match just because I know what we can bring. And it's special for him and I.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Cody Deaner in there. I actually think, Cody's been around for like 18 years or something crazy, been around a long time. I also think he's probably one of the most underrated wrestlers on the Impact roster.
He is.
He's incredible. He's a really good actor, especially when he's doing the whole comedic stuff. His delivery is really good, and sort of kind of almost makes you believe that what he's saying he actually means. And it's actually that's him. So yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Cody. He's I think he's good. I think he's great.
He is.
But Jake,
He's very underrated. Cody is super
but
underrated.
but Jake, yeah, no, again, one hell of a. I mean, he's a hoss. The boy is a beast.
Jake's a star. It's as soon as they take the leash off him and just let him go, sky's the limit. Because anywhere he
Yeah,
goes, he has that it factor that
he
people
does.
like. People attach themselves to him. Men, women, it doesn't matter. Children. He walks in an airport. I'll be dressed to the nines, looking like a superstar, thinking I look sweet. And then Jake will be looking like a damn Viking with old Dragon Ball, some shitty shorts on and a Dragon Ball tank top. And people will stop and look at him. And I'm like, I'm the guy that looks like the star, but this guy, you know what I mean? But that's how it is. And then anytime he walks out in the ring, people are instantly, you know what I mean? He's a big dude. He can work. He can cut a promo. He has everything. He has
Yeah,
what you want in a professional wrestler. He has what you want in a superstar. So it's only a matter of time. Impact's got to let the leash just take it off, let him go, and let him be Jake something, because that's money. Even if you don't like it, people are like, Jake something, I don't get it. The guy, once he explains it, once he gets it over. It's over everywhere else, because
mm,
he's over.
yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't matter. He just has it. Like, I have to work to get your attention. When you first see me, you're like, oh, that guy's a professional wrestler, because I'm 5'8", 180 pounds. They're like, oh, okay, I can see it. But then when I'm out there and I'm doing my thing, they're like, holy shit, this guy's amazing. Jake, instantly when he walks in a door, they're like, there's somebody special. He just
yeah.
has that, and I hope they, like you said, he's a hoss, but I hope Impact just lets the leash, takes the leash off him, lets him go, and because he's, in my opinion, he's their next big star. He is. They need to cater him as that. No, they don't need to cater anybody else, because there's your guy. There's your money
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, it's funny you should say. I always thought he looked like a Viking as well. He's a
He
big,
does that big beard.
yeah. He'd be amazing. He'd be amazing on the show Vikings.
Yeah,
The Edge
he
got.
likes that show too. He loves that show.
Yeah, it's a great show. Okay, so my last question really. So at Rebellion Part Two, which obviously which aired will probably be a couple of weeks away from when this airs, but they aired sort of last week. We saw an incredible four-way between you, Suicide, Chris Bay, and Trey Miguel. Now, I have to be honest. I was not expecting you to be taking the to take the pin in this one. I thought that Chris Bay would probably potentially win. I thought it was either going to be you or him that was going to win that match. I was very surprised you took the pin. I honestly thought that that Suicide was probably there to take the pin to take the pin. Um, but I think you and Chris would have an
Oh,
incredible feud.
that's another guy I would love to work with. And you just feel it when you're out there. You know what I mean? And just the little bit that Chris and I touched, it's like, okay, there's something here. There's something that we could have a good match. Both arrogant, both wanting to be the top heel. You know what I mean? Trying to work together, but also being pieces of trash. There is something there. And Chris is an amazing talent, and it's cool to see him getting some love right now, because he was getting love everywhere. And cool dude. I would love to work with Chris. I think that's another guy on my list that I would love to get in that ring with and just tear it up.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I'm going to be asking him the same question when I speak to him next week.
Okay,
There's a little
good.
hint there. I'll be speaking to the big man next week. So don't forget to tune into that one. Okay, no, that's fantastic because I think you guys would kill it. I really
I do
do.
too. Yeah.
But yeah, so that I'm hoping, with my fingers crossed on that happens at some point, because I think both of you guys deserve a run on that, especially at that Impact Championship as well. I think you both would be amazing champions, and I think if you took the championship and he was trying to get it off you or vice versa, that would be an immense feud that could go on for quite some time, I think.
Yeah, hopefully they listen.
Yeah,
Hopefully they see
definitely.
that chemistry there.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot. Because obviously I'm a big fan of your promo work, and I'm gonna ask you if you fancy giving the listeners a promo on the Bison. What do you think?
All right. Okay. Let's see what we got going on here.
I'm waiting. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. I'm not, but let's see. When you woke up this morning, what was the first thing you did? Did you look in the mirror? And when you look in the mirror, did you look yourself in the eyes? Did your eyes turn away? I looked in the mirror when I woke up. You want to know why? Because I'm not scared of what I see. I look myself in the eyes and I know exactly who I am. I know that I rose from the bottom, and I know I rose from the bottom because every time I'm in a locker room, every time I'm in a ring, I am reminded that I am from the bottom. But that's just it. People like you're scared. You hide behind your keyboard. You type all this nonsense. You want to bring people down as if your opinion mattered. Your opinion doesn't matter. You don't matter. As a matter of fact, you're just a waste of space. You're sucking up air that belongs to me. Someone that knows who he is. Someone that knows where he's going. Someone that creates his own destiny. I have taken my life and I have put it in the palm of my hand because I know exactly who I am. And I look at myself every day in the mirror and I realize that I am a piece of shit. I realize that I am no good. And I realize that I will do whatever it takes to reach the goals that I have set for myself. That is the difference between you and I, because I am a man. When I reach down, I feel a set because I am a man and I ain't scared to tell you. And if you don't know who I am, whether it's Rohit Raju or Hakeem Zayn, one thing is certain, and that is my mother, she called me son because I shine like one. There you go.
That was cool. That was really, really cool. I loved it.
And I swear to God, that was all off the top of the head. Besides, like, a couple things, that was all out of my ass. So there you go.
That was cool, man. That was fantastic. I definitely can't wait to put this one out. There's probably a lot of people out there that want to do a promo on me, that's for sure. And finally, do you have a message for everyone who are currently on lockdown at the moment?
Man, I know personally I like to be at home, but not this much. I enjoy seeing people. I enjoy talking to friends. I enjoy being out. I enjoy wrestling. I miss wrestling. So I can only imagine how, some people are right now. I understand if you're an essential worker, it probably sucks because you're around people with attitudes or, people that don't care about the virus and are, not wearing masks, and it can be stressful. And then there's people that are at home that are going through a lot of stuff, that have no one to talk to, that are lonely. And hopefully you guys reach out to people, anyone that you can. Hopefully you reach out to, if you're a fan of wrestling, you reach out to your wrestler and just say, hey, hi, I'm a big fan of your work. Sometimes they may respond. I'm the same way. Sometimes I'll respond. Sometimes I won't. I don't do it on purpose. Sometimes I just forget, or I just don't get to the message. Not saying I'm overloaded with messages, but sometimes I just don't. And I apologize, but hopefully you have family and friends that you can reach out to, get in group chats online just to talk to people, and hopefully you're staying safe, you're staying busy, you're staying creative, and you're staying sane. And my hat's off to you. I'm trying to do the same thing, and hopefully this will be over with sooner than later, and we can get back to somewhat of a normal life, some normalcy, and enjoy things. But the main thing is, I hope people. I don't ever take anything for granted. You know, if the sun is shining, I appreciate that. I do complain about things here and there, and I strive for certain things. But life is life, and I appreciate my life, and I'm going to keep hustling towards my goals. But hopefully, people that don't appreciate it learn something from this and appreciate the little things in life and how important they are, and the people in your life as well. So, well, best of luck to everybody.
Oh, thanks very much. I think that's a great message, and I think a lot of your fans, or a lot of the wrestling fans out there, appreciate that. Now, do you want to let us know where we can follow you or find you on social media or anything like that?
Raju Zain 80 on Instagram, Hakim Zain, that's Hakim on Twitter. If you look up Rohit Raju or the Mad Dragon Hakim Zain on either YouTube or Facebook, you'll find my pages. And that's it, really. I don't have a Snapchat or nothing like that. I Skype, with you guys. Other than that, man, just chilling, hanging out. Right now, I have no cool stuff to post, so it's usually pictures of me lifting weights, nothing but glory, egotistical pics, or pictures of my dogs or Star Wars. That's about it. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to stay relevant in some way. So
may the fourth be with you, by the way.
We're recording this on the 4th, so may the 4th be with you. I just finished Clone Wars last night, and I absolutely loved it. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, so I heard they just announced a new movie by Taika Waititi. So I didn't like Thor Ragnarok, but I did love all his episodes of Mando, so hoping that's good. But yeah, man, I'm hoping everybody's good and safe and sane and hopefully not lonely and depressed, and hopefully everybody's okay.
Oh, good. Really appreciate that. So, Rohit, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
This is the very first edition of Bison Talks Impact. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the future has in store for you once we get through obviously the situation we're at the moment. Obviously, we know the impact of taped some, about the next 7 weeks worth, I think, next 7 weeks worth of TV. So I'm sure we're going to be seeing you over the next 7 weeks doing the business. But I think once we get through this and we're all back together, and it'd be interesting to see where the future takes you. I think you're an incredible star, and I really, really can't wait to see where you go from here. Well, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the discussion with my first ever guest, Rohit Raju. If you want to know how to find the Bison, I'm very active on Twitter at LordBison45, and you can also find me along with my co-host, the Joker, giving character profiles on Impacted via the Total Nonstop Impact Network. So don't forget to give them a follow at We Talk Impact, which is available on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. So just like the last thing I'd like to say is take care to everybody. Stay safe, stay home. Remember, staying safe, staying home saves lives. That's all you need to remember. Stay home, stay safe, saves lives. Bottom line. So take care, everybody. It's goodbye from me, the Bison. This has been Bison Talks Impact. This has been my special guest, Rohit Raju. Take care, guys.